It's Two on the Aisle with me, Charles Gross, and Leslie Hoban Blake. Tonight, reviews of Heisenberg, Oh Hello on Broadway, Marie and Rosetta, 1001 Nights, and Mr. Popper's Penguins. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Two on the Aisle.
Hello, Charlie.
Hello. Do you like penguins, Leslie?
I love penguins, Charlie, almost as much as I love frogs.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Let's see. Has
Frog and
Yeah,
Toad.
well, actually, yes, Frog and Toad. Yeah, that was actually a very, very
Yes, it
good
was. Yes, it
musical.
was.
I enjoyed that one immensely.
So
but we're going to talk about...
I guess I'm kicking off tonight with Heisenberg.
Heisenberg, yes.
Heisenberg, the principal, as opposed to the philosopher.
Okay.
Starring Mary Louise Parker and Denis Arndt. It's spelled Dennis with one N, but it's pronounced Denis. It's French.
It's not like... what's his name? Ray Fine?
I have no idea what you're talking about. But anyway,
the actor. He spells it Ralph, and it's pronounced Ray.
Rafe. It's pronounced Rafe. Yes. Anyway, his name is Denis Arndt, and this is the story of a love affair between these two people who are very mismatched, not only in terms of their age, which is obvious and evident, but also in terms of their personalities. She's outgoing to a fault, and he is an introvert. Where she
Who runs a butcher shop.
Who owns a butcher shop, and she has to drag every other word out of him, at least in the beginning of the play. And it's a love story, and the only reason that the name Heisenberg is in it is because opposites attract, and that's the whole story. There's nothing much more to tell. Mark Brokaw, who's a wonderful director, directed it. They took it from off-Broadway to on-Broadway, so they built...
And who wrote it?
Simon, I can't think of it.
Stevens.
Simon Stevens, who also wrote The Curious Case of the Dog in the Night, which has nothing to do, I mean, it's apples and oranges, or dogs and not dogs. But they did build bleachers
on the stage.
Supposedly, they said it was to recreate the off-Broadway intimacy kind of thing. I think it was to put like 80 more seats in the theater.
Yeah, that would have been my conclusion.
Well, they took them from upstairs. They took the mezzanine seats and put them down. I mean, in other words,
where did the mezzanine? So
the tickets
you can't get mezzanine tickets.
Basically, they said they took them from the mezzanine.
Okay,
That's
so does that mean
said.
people pay mezzanine prices to sit on stage?
Beats the hell out of me, kid.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. Well, what you have here, and it's a little ironic because Mary Louise Parker's character is called Georgie Burns. And if you ever watched a Burns and Allen routine, George Burns was a straight man. He would basically say, okay, tell me about your relative Gracie. And she'd start talking. Well, here, Mary Louise Parker, who is in full Mary Louise Parker mode.
Which is pretty full.
Yeah, has about 80% of the dialogue. Basically, Denis Arndt just kind of stands around and gets pulled in. And
what job do you do?
I'm an assassin. I'm not, really!
Aren't you?
No, I'm a waitress! I bet that's a rather overpowering disappointment, isn't it? Oh, Greggy, he thinks a real assassin. You don't meet an assassin every day of your life. Oh, no, she's not an assassin. She's a fucking waitress.
I didn't think that.
Yeah, you did, you lying f***er. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that to be quite as good.
I like waitresses.
Do you?
Some of them, not all of them. That would be absurd to make a blanket generalization like that. Some waitresses are really lovely.
I work at Otto Langby's.
Terrific.
Do you know it?
No.
It's on Upper Street in Islington. It sells a fusion of continental, North African, and Oriental food, driven by a scientific determination to pursue culinary excellence to its highest level.
Magic.
I like science.
Yeah.
So I've seen your type before.
Right.
The shy, brooding, intellectual type. You come in, you sit down, you order a croissant, you read a poem or something. You're too shy to smile, you're too shy to tip, you leave, I'm right, and I've got you down to a T. Don't try and think for 1 second you have the measure of me, Mr. Man, because on the contrary, I have the measure of you.
Compared to the Curious Incident of the Dog, this is a bit of a come down for the playwright as far as
I actually went back
quality.
and read the script because I kept thinking I missed something. And she's very loud, and he's very not loud, and
Yes.
that's about it. That's their.
Well, there's also things that you would be expected here. She seduces him. She asks for money, but what happens after that gets a little interesting. And I keep seeing, it doesn't quite work, but she does make it work. And what it comes down to is, do you like Mary Louise Parker?
Okay, and
I really do like Mary
and
Louise Parker.
here comes the thing. When she played Hedda Gabler, I couldn't bear her because she was doing Mary Louise Parker as Hedda Gabler. What she's doing here is Mary Louise Parker at full tilt. Her voice is as loud as it could possibly be on stage. His voice is modulated. Hers is just, she seems to be yelling all the time.
I never got that impression.
I did. I forced pushing. And it's a lot of Mary Louise Parker. There was also that thing about the phone, the cell phone, where she finds the dead man's cell phone. I don't remember what the thing was called, but it was at Playwrights Horizons. You may not have seen it, but anyway, she did a play about that. And so when she's not yelling in this play, in that play she kind of was that kind of acting where she sort of hesitates a lot. I like her in some things. I loved her in Proof, just as you did. I liked her on Weeds a lot.
I never watched Weeds all that much.
I liked Weeds
I didn't
a
get
lot.
whatever station was broadcasting it. So
HBO,
I saw a few. I've seen a few episodes. I've never gotten into it, but I loved her in Proof, and I loved her in How I Learned to Drive.
Good.
And there was one other that was Communicating Doors, where she goes into different time. I liked it.
Yeah, no, I had trouble with that one too.
Okay.
Anyway, it's a lot of Mary Louise Parker.
Yes, it is.
And it's
what
only
it comes
a
down
90-minute
to,
play.
if you don't like Mary Louise Parker, stay as far away from this play as you can.
Yeah.
If you do like Mary Louise Parker, you will probably come away, play was, but I had a lot of fun watching her.
Well,
that's
I
what
like
it
her
boils
well
down
enough when she's directed to not do quite so much of that.
Okay.
And I fault Mark Brokaw for that. I think he just let her go and do what she wanted to do. But anyway, what would you give it?
I would give it 3.
You'd give it 3. 2.5. I had trouble staying with it.
All right.
That's why I went back and read it. I don't always read a play after I see it, but I did have to do that.
Okay.
So what do we got
and
next?
And it did not change your opinion at all.
No, it didn't. I was surprised that they got as much out of it as they did, given after having read it.
Well, this is far from opposites. These two are pretty much the same. This is Oh Hello on Broadway. And this is
Hello.
Nick Kroll and John Mulaney, who play two older men who may or may not be Jewish or something to that effect. They live on the Upper West Side in sets left over from previous tenants of the Lyceum Theater. And I thought it was ironic because they say part of their set comes from title of show, which was also at the Lyceum, and covered Lyceum, excuse me, and covered a very same ground. In other words, they're basically going on. Well, this is interesting. They're basically telling us, well, we got this part of the set from this part of the set from that. They
have the dryers from Steel Magnolias on stage.
Yes, and the entrance of the Bill Cosby house from Cosby Show. And apparently they had John Slattery and John Hamm who were about to come to Broadway. John Slattery is in front page because at one point they have a guest from the audience come on their show, which is called Too Much Tuna. Unfortunately, they did not have either John Slattery or John Hamm the night I saw it. They had the guy from
I don't know, Charlie.
the band show, the Andrew Lloyd Webber rock.
The rock guy, Alex, whatever his name is, and nobody knew who he was when he was
right.
out there. I saw the same
high
night
school.
you did.
What is it? Right.
School of Rock.
School of Rock. Thank you. Who seemed game, but really didn't add much to it.
But here's the thing.
Yes.
Just the way The Simpsons started out as a 5-minute bit on
Tracy
Ullman's show. Thank you. These guys are a 5-minute bit on the Nick Kroll show. Now, I like Nick Kroll. I think he's very clever. He does some really interesting characters. He gets all dressed up as a la Tracy Ullman, so you don't know who he is. You don't really see him in there. They come out, they're two young guys, they come out as these old guys, the 70-year-old guys on the Upper West Side.
I think the term is altocockers.
Altocockers, in a rent-controlled apartment on the Upper West Side.
Which they lose.
Which you're not supposed to say because that's part of the plot line, I guess. But
There's
anyway,
a plot?
Well, here's what they did. Now, it had more plot than I had any reason to expect. because they have a cable show, not unlike our cable show, except theirs is called Too Much Tuna. And that's what they do. They give people too much tuna. They go, oh, too much tuna. They have this hideous affect, which drives me up a wall. 5 minutes of it I might be able to take. Continuing to do that. And John Mulaney does some sort of weird shimmy. If Donald Trump wants to talk about Hillary Clinton's shimmy, he shimmies in some weird way, like he's got like a baby's diaper, kind of thing. When he says, "Oh, hello," and they mispronounce things. So it's Broadway. It's on Broadway that we're going to see the show.
I didn't quite notice that.
Oh my God! How could you miss it?
I don't know what to say. All I could say, the audience was laughing.
The audience came because they were fans.
And they laughed, and they were having a good time. And I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking, oh, hello, I can't wait to say, oh, bye-bye.
Yeah, well, the thing is, yes.
These, you talk about too much Mary Louise Parker.
Yeah.
I can take 90 minutes of Mary Louise Parker very easily.
Compared to this. But here's the thing.
And the difference between this and The Simpsons was actually much better as a standalone TV show.
But The Simpsons is a wonderful show. I wasn't making the comparison that it didn't work.
Right.
What I'm saying is they both started out as 5-minute segments.
Right. Okay.
And the reason that this
I
came
find The
to
Simpsons
Broadway,
a lot more entertaining.
Well, so do I. I wasn't trying to say that it was equal in any other way than that they started from the same place. The reason that they're on Broadway is that they like Broadway, as they call it. And so they have things to say about. We're going to show you two segments about that have reference to Broadway.
Why don't we take a quick look at that right now?
We love the great traditions of the theater, and that is why we plan to pay homage to them tonight. For example, the one-sided phone call.
Ah, the one-sided phone call. This is very good. This is when a character makes a phone call, but they do it in a very stagey way where they repeat the phone call information to the other characters. First get a telephone no one would have in real life.
Oh, hello.
Then, please do way too much business with the phone. Really show the audience you've been working with the prop all week. And then, ladies and gentlemen, a one-sided phone call. Ravi, a melodramatic wash, please.
Oh, hello? Well, John, I'm sure. The police? That's who you are. You know what an audience like is to be screamed at.
Yes, screaming is key to theater. Do you want to know why, Karen? Because I cannot afford Microsoft Word.
My baby. My chair, baby. He killed him.
That is, of course, from Ionesco's Chairs. And
Oh, hello, we're back.
Oh,
And they also have segments, they mention New York 1 and a few other things that I guess you're supposed to know if you live on the West Side. I've been living on the West Side for 25 years.
Well, you can live on the East Side and still get New York 1.
That's true.
You don't have to live on the West Side again. The point being.
So maybe it has a broader appeal than we realize.
I think that people may have laughed louder because they were paying a lot of money for this show, and it's not a Broadway show.
No.
No matter what they do to it, no matter how they dress it up, you know that whole thing about you can dress it up, but it's still a pig. Well, this is still, that may not be, but anyway, it's not a Broadway show, and I don't understand how they can get away with it. And a lot of the reviewers liked it. Several didn't like it, but a lot of the reviewers
certainly
liked
the
it.
audience liked it. I did not. No. I would give it 2 playbills.
Yeah, 2 is about what it deserves.
Okay. All right. Here is something I think we might have liked a little more.
Well, I love this. This is Marie and Rosetta, and it's sister Rosetta Tharpe.
Right.
And Marie, I don't remember what Marie's last name is. I'm going to try to find it here. Marie Knight. And these were two real
Yes, true story.
gospel singers.
Well, I don't know if it's a true story. It's true that it's based on a true story, certainly.
Well, it's based on two real people. There was
Yes.
a Rosetta Tharpe and there
Right.
was a Marie Knight, and they did work together.
Yes.
So whether the biographical details are true or not,
Right.
the story of them being together is true, and it takes place in 1945, and it takes place in Mississippi.
Well, just actually 1946, but just as the women
Okay.
are getting together for the first time, Sister Rosetta is a fairly prominent blues gospel
She's
slash.
a gospel singer. She's a gospel singer, and she sings on the Chitlin circuit. It's a
Right.
black circuit that only blacks
But
go
she
to.
also ventures out into what eventually we would call rock and roll.
Well, eventually all of
Yes.
that, but that comes after this point in time.
Right.
And,
Well, no,
and
no.
it's
They
interesting-
talk about her doing. She talks about nightclubs and stuff.
But they also talk about Elvis Presley because the time.
Well,
jumps.
no, that comes
Yes,
later,
I
and
know.
you're going to give a lot away if you mention that.
No, well, no, but my point is that Rosetta had a tremendous impact on all kinds of artists after her, and her R&B and gospel it became crossover in the 50s. At the time that they're doing it, it's still not crossover.
No.
The whites would go to Harlem to see black performers, but they wouldn't put them on the radio. You couldn't play them on a white station. I mean, it was all that stuff that we learned about with Elvis Presley stealing all the black, musicians' music kind of thing, and others as well, Jerry Lee Lewis, and But
that's another musical.
But that's another musical. But the point being that these two women are finding out whether they're a good fit or not, and
Yes.
it's Marie's first time, and they are such a fit. And Rosetta teaches Marie how to do things, and you think Marie is one kind of person, you find out she's something else indeed.
Very different. I mean, there are still a lot of the traits that she exhibits that are genuine, but she turns out to be, let's say, at a different stage of life than we are led to believe.
And Rosetta is
the
played by
yeah.
Keisha Lewis,
Yes.
who is a bigger-than-life character, and Marie is played by Rebecca Naomi Jones, whom we have loved since Passing Strange, and she was when Wayne Brady went on Broadway to do Hedwig.
She played the boyfriend.
The boyfriend, right? So she's and I love her dearly, and she was in Big Love, and I just think and we may be lucky enough to get both of them to come on and talk with us. I hope.
we're hoping.
But I just have to say that this was, the way sometimes I say 90 minutes seems so long. I could have taken another hour of this easily.
Well, they sing during the show.
Yeah.
And both of them sing beautifully. And it's a very nicely put show. It's basically, it concentrates on the first night that they meet. And then the author comes up with a very, what I thought, clever way. This is George Brandt who wrote it. Very clever way of telling us the rest of the story. Very compressed. And Elvis Presley kind of figures into it. I don't want to give it away.
And it's an odd set, but the set makes sense after that when you figure out what the storyline is.
Right.
As
Well, the storyline. Well, basically, they're in a.
Don't. You
You
don't
could
have
say
to.
it takes place in a mortuary
Okay.
because they couldn't find any place else to stay because they were black and they couldn't get into hotels.
Okay.
Okay. Fine. Now, would you like to rank it?
Would I like to rank it? Yes, I
How-
would.
yes.
I'd like to give it a 4.5.
Fine.
It's a fun evening. I think it's just about finishing its run as we
Yes.
speak.
I
But
will-
it's
I will give it
Oh,
4.
is it the Atlantic Theater Company, by the way,
Yes.
put it on
At the Linda Gross Theater.
in St. Peter's Church,
Yes.
which is a lovely theater. And it was just, one of those little jewels that you're never sure what you're going to get when you go, and it's wonderful. I had such a good time there.
Okay.
Really special.
Very good.
We saw something else at the same theater.
We did, which was also
at
very
10:30
special.
in the morning on a Saturday.
Yeah, well,
was
which
it Saturday
is
or Sunday?
It was a Sunday.
Sunday.
In my
God.
case, it has to be a Sunday.
Yeah, right,
Well,
of
we
course.
decided to see. There are shows you can bring children to. Fiddler on the Roof, The King and I. There are shows that are technically meant for children
Right.
that make incredible Broadway musicals, like the Lion King. Well,
Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins, The Lion King,
Right.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, etc.
Right.
Then there are shows that are simply meant for children.
Well, and the difference is that you're paying $175 for the child to go see Mary Poppins or the
Right.
King and the Lion King.
Right.
But
And
here
you're paying substantially less.
well-
and do you know? I don't know how much this
We're not
is.
sure. I don't remember what the price would have been on the 1001 Nights, which of course is the Arabian Nights. It's the story of Scheherazade.
Scheherazade, right? And it's very cleverly done. It's actually, speaking of Disney musicals, music and lyrics by Robert Lopez, who was one of the
Writers with his
Right.
wife on Frozen, right?
on Frozen. So,
But it's not just, and also on Avenue Q. But it's and he also did the book here. He did everything. He's a one-man band on this, and obviously.
well, he
many
collaborated with Adam Copeland on the book.
Yes,
and it's a very simple thing, and unfortunately, they don't even have live music there. That the basic plot is the king has shut off his wife in a tower, and she eventually runs away, and he decided, I'm going to marry a new girl every day, and I'm going to behead her at night. That
Do
way
you
they'll
not
never
know the
leave me.
1001 Nights story?
I
that's-
did not know that story.
Oh,
no.
this is one of the
Well,
oldest. It's an
it's-
Arabian fairy tale.
I'm aware of that, but
It's the Arabian
it
Nights.
is not.
That's where it comes
yes,
from.
Well,
Yeah.
I know that now. And basically, Scheherazade, or Sherry as she is known here, decides she will marry him, but keeps herself alive by telling him stories such as Aladdin or The Fisherman and the Genie, etc. And it's simple, but it's clever, and it's just so much fun. I really had a very good time with this. PJ Adzmia is the king, and they all play a bunch of different roles, even the leading actors. And you have to notice a resemblance between him and Neil Patrick Harris. The authors of the play did, because they make him very Barney Stinson-like, G-rated. Don't worry, but still they do. Catelyn Donahue is just so charming and enchanting as Scheherazade. And then the rest of the cast, Linda Gardner, Jamie Hansen, just so much fun.
Well, very much the kind of thing where the characters on stage go, did you see which way they went? And the kids go, yeah, that way, they went that way, which is very much children's theater.
Absolutely.
Comes another one that we went to see. And we went to see this because we wanted to be able to come back and talk to you about children's theater that is cost-effective for children.
Absolutely, and meant for children,
for
as
children.
opposed. It's not something that you would go to without a child.
But also
unless,
affordable.
of course, you're a theater critic.
Yes, and affordable. And we only went to 2 of them. We thought about going to many more, but we only went to 2 of them. And the second one we went
will
to
be covering
was
others
one
in
that
the
this
future.
young child over here really wanted to see, so we decided to go. And it was Mr. Popper's Penguins. And I have to tell you, I didn't sit with Charlie during 1001 Nights. I had to sit in the back, at the back of the bus. But for Mr. Popper's Penguins, we sat next to each other. There is no happier child in the theater like this than him. He sits there and smiles from ear to ear, and there was a lot to smile about, because this is a play with penguins, and also they're puppet penguins.
Yes.
So Mr. Popper's Puppet Penguins, if you can say that 20 times. And I don't know if you can get close enough to see it. I don't think I have a bigger one.
It's based on the book of the same name, as a small town
slightly larger
house painter who was sent a penguin by Admiral Drake from the South Pole, and eventually, because the penguin is lonely, they have to get him a mate, and they have children, and they teach, and they end up on the vaudeville circuit with performing penguins.
Right. But here's the interesting thing. The 1001 Nights that we went to see is very much an American musical. It was made into the characters, even though they were from the Arabian Nights, were very American. As you said, Scheherazade became Sherry. This is a British company. It's called the Pins and Needles Company, and they speak with British accents.
Right.
They have puppets. But I was looking around to see if all the children could actually follow, because they're fairly thick British accents. And sure enough, the kids were eating it up with a spoon. They really loved it. I guess if you have penguins and they're puppets, I guess you can't not love it.
Yeah.
Not a musical, except when
Well, it is a musical.
Well, except when they went on the stage to do the vaudeville act.
No, they had songs and they sang them.
Okay. All right. I guess they weren't memorable enough for me to remember them until they got on stage.
I guess
but,
not.
There's nothing here about what the songs are. In any case, it's only a 4-person cast.
yes.
The husband and wife who get the penguins, and the 2 penguin handlers, as it were.
Who play other roles.
Who play all the
including,
other roles as well. And it was a charming piece. Again, this I know what the ticket price
Right.
on this is. This is $25.
Right.
And well worth it. If you
I
want to
think
take
so.
a kid to see live
You know,
theater.
compared to 1001 Nights, I actually like 1001 Nights was simpler, but I kind of enjoyed it more. Maybe.
Really?
Well, maybe it was the novelty, or maybe knowing the Popper
No, see,
story.
I didn't know that, so
I
for
may have
me, that
expected
was
a little more.
Well, see,
out,
you
out
knew
of
one
it.
and I knew the other, so that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yes, and but both very enjoyable. You know, I would certainly give this 4, even 4.5. This probably closer to 3.5.
Oh, no. I would give this a good solid 4 or higher.
Okay.
Just because the puppets were so intriguing and the way they worked them and putting them into the act and having them do those things. I found that to be very clever.
Simple but clever.
Simple but clever. Well, yes, but that's for children. It has to be. It has to be clever for the adults. It has to be simple and
and
funny
after the
for
play,
the kids.
you can meet the cast if you like.
Yes,
and
you go down and meet the
go
puppets.
down to,
You
well,
went down. I
well,
didn't.
I didn't see the puppets there, but they had like a penguin poster that you could pose with.
Oh, I
and
see. Oh,
they had a few
did you?
crafts. No,
Did you?
I did not. Eva Heinemann was there. She might have.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Apparently, she read that story to her son quite often.
Oh,
so
well,
she
no, see, I never
felt
read the.
She felt
I
she
know
had
that
to
Jim
go.
Carrey made a movie
Right,
out of
I
it.
never actually saw that.
But but overall, the idea is, and then there's Tada, the children's theater that we
Right.
we didn't go to,
Right.
but we talked about going to. That's actually children doing children's
We will
shows.
be covering that later in the
Which-
season, we hope.
When I saw Charlie Brown up at the York, it was children doing Charlie Brown, and my son was in Charlie Brown when he was a kid. And
In any case, children's theater is alive and well in New York City,
Yes.
and if you want to take your children to the theater, you do have choices
Yes.
other than something like The Lion
of course,
King.
you have to sit through the choices, but you know.
You know what? I had
We-
no,
we-
I,
I
we
didn't
had
have
no
any trouble. I had no
problem
trouble
sitting.
at
I
all.
was just thinking, gee, it's a shame both my kids are away at college. You know, I'd have taken them.
They'd have to wait another 20 years before they'd be willing to come back and sit through that again. See, that's the thing. Right now, they consider themselves above it, probably. You don't think
You know,
so?
I
You
think
don't
my younger,
so?
I think my younger one would have come if she
Oh,
were around.
well, okay.
You know, who knows?
Who knows?
Anyway, so quite a lot to do in New York, and that is our show for the evening.
And when you go to the theater,
Look for Leslie and me, us too.
on the aisle.